So this was the Great Seal of America. No big deal or anything. It's just a rattlesnake. It is. This is going back to, like 1766, so it's before the Revolution. It was even the seal on money. So Benjamin Franklin on the rattlesnake as a symbol of America, following a letter from an American. So they didn't know who wrote this, and then they realized it was Ben Franklin. He was writing about. He titled an article he wrote, because he wrote under anonymous names. He titled it "Felons and Rattlesnakes." And the reason for this was because England was importing felons here. Franklin wrote a satire article entitled "Rattlesnakes for Felons." For years, England had been shipping convicted criminals to her American colonies, which she justified as a way to help them grow in population. Such a tender parental concern. He goes into this whole satire about, how the motherland cares so much that they're sending us all their criminals. So doesn't it just go, if you think about it, if you listen to enough of Trump's speeches, he's told the story about the snake enough times, right? He tells the story of the snake. Same thing. It's always been going on. So the other thing, the reason I came across this was because Franklin, I found this article about the snake felons, rattlesnakes and felons, because Franklin had written another piece back in 1767 about basically how stupid Americans are. And not trying to be mean, but just that they come here and then they don't want to stand up for freedom. So they ended up using the snake to try to unite people together, like that we're all one. This was, again, before the Constitution and all that. This is back when they were the colonies. So I wanted to read just a short part of what he said about... There are some persons besides the Americans so amazingly stupid as to distinguish in this dispute between power and right, as though the former did not always imply the latter. The right of conquest invests the conqueror with the authority to establish what laws he pleases, however contrary to the laws of nature and the common rights of mankind. Examine every form of government at this day, subsisting on the face of the globe, from the absolute despotism of the Grand Sultan to the democratic government of the city of Geneva, and it will be found that the exertion of power in those hands with whom it is lodged, however unconstitutional, is always justified. And that's basically what he's saying. They were trying to get people to come together to fight. This is about the tax, T-TAT, all that stuff. But it was also about them importing criminals here. So, but his point was that your ancestors, your descendants, they came here, they fought, they in these horrible conditions, many times deathly conditions, to get here. And then they get here, and then you want to go right back to the same old system instead of standing up and fighting. But so this is where your universities come in, because the universities have always been tied to the crown, in my opinion. They just have. It's been a way the crown has been able to keep control over people. And I see it all over TikTok, okay? So you have, first of all, you have the one side, everybody's happy, chevrons. You have more of the right side that's saying, oh, great, everything's great now. Chevron's overturned, totally missing the fact that the Supreme Court gave the government the ability to silence you the day before they did that ruling, but nobody seems to be paying attention to that one, as I've done a couple videos about. Then you have the left side that's carrying on. We need Chevron. How can they do this? We don't have regulators. What's going to happen to this? What's going to happen to that? And it's like, you know what? That's not what America was about. That's That's what Ben Franklin, that's what the founders were getting away from, is all this regulation. And because all these people go to the universities, this is why our country pushes this higher education bullshit. Then it indoctrinates you into that thinking. I mean, it literally does. And again, Skull and Bones, which is just one of many secret societies that was here long before 1776, they all came from these universities. So the rattlesnake was the Great Seal for a while. This is 1777. You can see it's over there, the seal of a $17 bill. Here's the thing. One of the secret societies at Yale, because Yale was like one of the first colleges here, again, before our Constitution, one of theirs, besides Skull and Bones, that most people know about, because people, I think, know John Kerry and George W. Bush, the Bushes were in Skull and Bones, going all the way back to Prescott Bush. But another secret society at Yale, one of their biggest too, is Book and Snake. Book and Snake. Scroll and Key, Skull and Bone, it's all dark societies. Secret societies that then those people go on to get into our government. So they used before 1776, they used the rattlesnake to represent that this is America, and Ben Franklin explained because the rattlesnake is cunning, and so it was a way to try to bring people together. Yeah, and so this is supposed, obviously the rattlesnake surrounding the armies. Yeah, I mean, it just, we're the eagle now, which is, I think that's maybe a little bit better. And then this was in a newspaper back then. The lion is England. I would actually say that rattlesnake should be England. But in this, the lion is England. So basically, this was in the back then. The British lion. What it's depicting is the British lion engaging the four powers. Depicted a lion representing England confronting four opponents, a pug dog, which represents Holland, a rattlesnake representing America, a fighting cock representing France, and a spaniel representing Spain. The pug says, which the pug is Holland, I will be the jack of all sides as I have always been. The rattlesnake, which is America, says, I have America and will be independent. The fighting cock, which is France, says, I will have my title from you and be called King of France. The spaniel, representing Spain, says, I will have Gibraltar that I may be king of all of Spain. And the lion says, which is England, you shall all have an old English drubbing to make you quick. So that was, but this is what went on back then. And one of the biggest things, I mean, and Franklin goes into this long piece about, basically the satire behind the whole rattlesnake thing is that basically was saying, since our motherland cares so much about us, we should really thank them for sending us basically, felons here, and then not being able to get the American people to rise up and fight against it. I mean, they did eventually, obviously. So basically what Franklin is ultimately saying is that these are snakes coming in, and that we should send them back to England and put them in the castles of the Parliament, all of that, in the gardens. We should send them all back. Yeah, so the same thing that's always been going on, just, now it's Venezuela sending us all their criminals. But this has been an ongoing problem. And the people that think that our country was supposed to be about the government regulating everything, no, that's not what our country was supposed to be about. So I would really encourage all those Democrats, go live in a country that's socialist. That's socialism. You don't get to change our values. We've lived under that bullshit enough. It's time. I would like to live under what our founders wanted to. But you know what? As long as you have these universities teaching this socialism shit, they came from England. That's the reason all the secret societies are in those universities. To create a bunch of people that then takes our country into despotism.